Well, Jay, you know how much I love you, and I can't thank you enough for being here one more time before we go off the air. Life is, first of all, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I think this is a perfect time for you to be here to help us through what is going on in the world. What wisdom can you share with us today?
Well, this year, I want our Mental Health Awareness Month to be all about our relationships. And I think there's 3 relationships we need to pay more attention to. The first, I want you to think about the person that comes to your mind when you think about sharing good news. Who's that person in your life that you can't wait to text, you can't wait to call? I want you to text them today or call them today when you have nothing to share but gratitude. Then I want you to think about the person that comes to your mind when you think about sharing bad news, when you're going through something difficult. And again, I want you to reach out to them and just let them know you're thinking of them. And then the third person is the person that you may forget about. This person maybe looks like they have it all together, their life looks perfect on social media, or maybe there's someone that you forget about because they're not as vocal. And I want you to reach out to them and just say, hey, I'm here for you. Tell me how you feel, tell me how you're doing. And I think if we can do that this Mental Health Awareness Month, then I think that's gonna have amazing ripple effects.
I agree, that's amazing. People, I think everyone is having a hard time. There's so much going on in the world, and I think people need advice on, I mean, for me, obviously, meditation is free, but a lot of people have a hard time meditating, which is why calm is important. We'll talk about calm in a minute. But what can people do that's free that can help change what's happening to them taking all this in?
Yeah, so I read about something really amazing recently that scientists call the awe effect. And what that means is when we look at things like beautiful landscapes or beautiful views or just beautiful aspects of nature, we all experience something called awe. And the reason why it's so special is because we feel really tiny, but we feel like we're a part of something bigger. And that's what awe is. And so what I recommend is getting out there and walking to a top of a hill where you can see the view. All of our life today is consumed in looking at things up close. We look at our phones, we look at our screens. Allow yourself to look into the distance, the vastness of the sky. And that way, awe is free for each and every one of us every single day just by looking out into nature, just by looking out at the sky. And so we can all experience that special awe that scientists talk about.
I love that. Just changing perspective. Every single night before I go to bed, we take the dogs out and I look at the stars.
I love that.
And just looking at the stars, I'm reminded every single night about, you know, this beautiful universe we're in. We are all affected right now by 24/7 news cycles. Even if you try to avoid it, it's there. So well, you told me something recently, how it's affecting us all and the amount in 24 hours. You want to share that?
Yeah, well, we were talking about this, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and it was this study that I read a few years ago that said that we're exposed to more tragedy in 24 hours than we were in our whole lifetime 25 years ago. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed or burnt out, it is totally normal. It is so okay, and that's why what you do is so important, because you're giving us that moment in the day of love, of joy, of beauty. And I would say that we have to be sensitive to this 2 times of the day specifically. The first is when we wake up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, make sure you select your thought really wisely. Make it love, make it kindness, make it gratitude, make it an affirmation that you loved. And then the thought just before you go to bed. Make that thought really selectively. Tell your partner you love them. Tell your children you love them. Share a thought of love with someone who's not even there with you in that physical moment. We've got to be really sensitive of our exposure to the news, to notifications at these 2 times.
Yeah, that is really important. The first thing you wake up
Yes.
and before you even get out of bed.
Absolutely.
And then we were also talking about something I want to share with the lotus and the mud.
Yeah, so we lost a very special soul in the world recently called Thich Nhat Hanh. He was a Tibetan monk. And he had this beautiful phrase that he would say, no mud, no lotus. And if you've never seen a lotus flower, I highly recommend you go and inspect one because it's phenomenal to see how it grows through the mud. It's like the rose from concrete. And we keep growing as a lotus, which is what I love that you're always pushing us to do when we choose love. And that's how you get the lotus in the mud.
I love that. I love that. We have to remember that. All right, we're going to take some questions from the audience. We'll be back. We're back with Jay Shetty, and you are now the Chief Purpose Officer of the Calm app, and you lead daily meditations. If you don't have the Calm app, you should, but explain, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help meditation reach each and every person on the planet, and I think this is how we're going to do it. We've made it really, really simple, and it's been beautiful. Over the last few months that it's been out, we've seen nurses and people using it with their kids and people using it through their own difficulties and challenges, and I'm hearing stories every day about how people are using it not only for themselves, but to connect with one another. So even if people who don't live close to each other, but they're doing the same meditation at the same time every day and then sharing their stories, I think it's gonna bring a lot of people together, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it.
It's the most centering thing. It's fantastic. We have received over 100 audience questions for you, so we have time for a few, but we'll start with this one, and it is Monica Salazar. Where's Monica? Hi, Monica.
Hi.
Hey, Monica.
Oh, man. Ellen said my name. Thank you. I just want to say both of you are so special, and we need people like you right now during all of these times.
Thank you, Monica.
So learning that you were going to be on today, Jay, as a working mom, wife, sister, friend, I tend to put myself last a lot. How can I break through and make that and keep up that consistency to prioritize myself for my mental health, but not go back to old habits?
Yeah, that's a great question. And first of all, I want to say, too, that when Ellen first said my name, I felt the same way. So I'm still with you. I'm right there with you. I really believe that there's something that psychologists talk about, which are called effective days and efficient days. So efficient days are when you do a lot of things. You cook, you clean, you do the laundry, you check off everything off your to-do list. And then there are effective days where you do important things. You may not do as many things, but you do one thing that makes a big difference. And as a mom, as someone who's juggling, as someone who has to balance a lot, I would ask yourself to be less judgmental of yourself and ask yourself, is today going to be an efficient day or an effective day? And that way you lose that judgment, you lose that self-criticism, and you allow yourself to recognize that you need both those days. And some days you're going to take everything off your to-do list, and you're going to feel great just because you do that. And some days you won't do any of your to-do list, but you'll do one thing for yourself, and you feel better just because of that. So I hope that helps.
It does. I needed
thank you,
that.
Monica. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Monica. All right, Jonathan Malvez. Jonathan Malvez, where are you? Hi.
Hey, Jonathan.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
So my question is, what can one do on a daily basis to stay motivated to reach their goals that they set out for themselves? Like for me, I stay motivated for like the first week and a half, and then I kind of start to decline. So what can one do to kind of stay on that same track, I guess?
So I'm going to share something really interesting with you that I figured out a while ago. And it's this idea that when you're doing things that are good for you, you never want to do it before. It never feels good before, but it always feels good after. So if you think about going to the gym or eating healthy, when you think about that in the morning, you think, I don't want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
But then when you come out of the gym, you feel amazing and you think, I never not want to go to the gym. Mm-hmm. So what we have to do is we have to strengthen our memory of how things feel after.
Gotcha.
After you feel motivated, after you do something good for yourself, write it down, tell a partner or a friend and say, hey, I do this with my wife all the time. Every time I come back from the gym, I say, next time I tell you I don't want to go to the gym, remind me that I said this to you and that I had a great time. So allow yourself to build that accountability where someone in your life can remind you, actually, you always feel good when you do things that are good for you.
Got it.
So I hope that helps, Jonathan.
No,
Thank you
it
so
helps a
much.
lot. Thank you so much.
I love that,
Thank
Jay.
you.
All right, more with Jay after this. All right, we're back with Jay Shetty, and I want to mention that On Purpose is the #1, his podcast. If you don't listen to On Purpose, it's the #1 health podcast. He just won an award for that. Congratulations on that as well. And before we go, I want to, obviously, I'm about to go through a whole huge life change. I mean, this has been 19 years of my life. It's going to be a huge change for me, and I don't even know how I'm going to feel after this. But there are a lot of people who are ending chapters and starting new chapters. So what advice do you have for anyone who is ending something that they've been doing for a long time and it's all of a sudden over?
The first thing I'm going to do is invite you onto my podcast because you just mentioned it. So I was like, I have to take this opportunity. But Ellen, when I think about what you've done over the last 19 years as a viewer, as someone who's been a fan, as someone who adores what you do and what you stand for, I have been blown away with the impact you've had. And saying goodbye and moving on from something that you love so deeply is challenging. And I think, as you said, everyone has that experience. I would say that as a society, we're very good at emphasizing the end of things and forgetting that the end of anything is the beginning of something else. And I think if we all thought about the best moments in our life, the most memorable moments in our life, I guarantee you it would be when something changed. You don't think about when things stayed the same as the best moments of your life. The best moments of your life were transitions, transformations, and yes, they were painful in that process, but when you look back, you think, I changed, and that's what made this change in my life. So there's a beautiful Zen teaching of old. It's been repeated for years, but I want to share that with you today. And it says that letting go is hard, but holding on is harder. And I think so many of us are trying to hold on to something, and it makes it harder and harder. And I just really believe that your legacy, your impact is going to continue to change lives. You have so much to look forward to, and I can't wait to see how you continue to inspire love in the world. I really can't. So I'm excited.
I can't wait too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And so true. All right. There's a plug, but I've now been told you have something for me.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So I was thinking about this for a while, and I've seen you be so generous over the years. And this was my small way of saying thank you to you, thank you to amazing audience, thank you to this incredible team behind the scenes. I just wanted to offer a donation of $10,000 to the Trevor Project, which is committed to suicide prevention. And, I really, really want to highlight the Trevor Project, which is committed to suicide prevention and mental health support for LGBTQIA youth and young people. And for you, having been so bold and courageous in your career, I thought that this would hopefully be meaningful and support some young people.
I've been a supporter of the Trevor Project since they started, like from the very beginning. So thank you so much, Jay. You're amazing. Download the Calm app to listen to Daily Jay. If you're not already listening to On Purpose with Jay Shetty, you should check it out. It's on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We'll be right back.